Hello friends, family, whoever else would be watching this video right now. I hope you're doing great today. I wanted to do a little something different than what I usually do. And I kind of wanted to do like a little perspective video of how many item boxes is the minimum amount of item boxes you have to get in order to beat Mario Kart Wii and beat all the courses. I don't know if you've noticed this, but Mario Kart Wii is a really fun game, one of my favorite personally, and it's crazy that something that's almost 15 years old has made it this far in the world, you know? I think it's personally like the gameplay. I think that's one of the biggest things and the reason why it's so popular, but there's a lot of other like very positive things to it. And so I was actually curious to see, with the item boxes, is it possible to like avoid every single item box? Did the game developers, did they make it so that way you can avoid every box? Or is there certain boxes that they're like shoving it down your throat saying, no, you have to get this? Well, there's only one way to find out. And so, yeah, let's just get straight into it. So before we do begin, I don't want to have any people in the comments saying, oh, you didn't get this, or oh, you did get this, without actually having proper rules for this. So I've got 3 major rules here that I have to be abiding by in order to actually win. The first rule is not as much of a rule as it is just a standard of playing. I'm allowed to use any cart or character combo that I wish at all times. So that way, if something I can't squeeze through with maybe one character and cart combo, I may be able to squeeze through on another cart and character combo. The second rule that I have for this game specifically is that I'm not allowed to use the computers to be able to like just get in the way, if that makes sense. So I can't go straight after computer goes. And in order to kind of like stop myself from doing that and not be tempted at all, I've made it so that the computers just will not move at all times. And so like, there's no way the computers can even be in the way at all. And then the final and last thing here is just that I only have to complete 1 lap and not all 3 laps, just because there's not really much of a change that's gonna happen during the 2nd and 3rd lap. But that's all the rules. So without further ado, we're just gonna go ahead and get straight into the Mushroom Cup. So to begin with Luigi's Circuit, obviously a cakewalk. There's only 3 item sets total, and all of them you can just go around in the off-road. Very simple, very easy stuff, and there's not really any reason to linger on it that much. The next one is Moonview Meadows, and the first one may look a little bit more challenging, but really it's not. You just have to stick to the far left side, and you're basically good on that one. The other 2 sets, same thing with the second set, where you just have to stick onto the left side. And then the third one, there's so many openings that it's not even funny. So yeah, Moonview Meadows is a cakewalk too. Mushroom Gorge, same thing, same old. There's literally nowhere that you can go that is really that difficult. You can make it a little bit easier on the 3rd section where you've got the mushrooms, and all you have to do is just stick to the right side, not the left, and it'll make it a little bit easier for you on that. But overall, you can make it either side. Finally, Toad's Factory is a little bit more difficult, especially in that conveyor belt section, which did mess me up a little bit, but like, it's typical to just avoid it and not have to deal too much with it. And then also you've got that section where you jump out of the crate area. And again, it's the same thing. It's very simple, easy stuff where you just have to stick to one side on the left or one on the right, and you'll get this easy peasy lemon squeezy. Onto the Flower Cup, which in my opinion is very difficult, especially compared to the last one, which was kind of a cakewalk. We start with Mario Circuit, and there is this one section underneath the bridge that is just so difficult, like very difficult. At first I thought it was near impossible to be able to get around this, especially with Funky Kong Flame Runner. I tried many different options, which was to bump off the walls, try and see if I could glitch out of bounds, try and go straight through the middle, see if I could squeeze through there. But any of those options just wouldn't really work. And so I was very confused and stuck what to do for about 5 to 10 minutes. Around 10 minutes into the plan, I decided, hey, maybe I should try and change into Baby Mario or someone else that's a little bit smaller or lightweight. In the end, I finally barely squeezed through it, and I was kind of impressed. I was like, dang, that's crazy. So it is actually possible to be able to get around this little under the bridge section. The rest of it is really simple. You just go on the off-road for basically all the rest of it, except for that first one, which you just go around on the left or the right side. But just that under the bridge section, you have to be very, very careful you don't touch it. Coconut Mall, another really easy one. There's nowhere really that the item boxes are very squished together. You're not going to have any of those issues where you're going to grab one automatically. Yeah, that one's very simple altogether. Onto DK Summit, there isn't anywhere really that, again, you're going to have much trouble trying to avoid those item boxes. All of them are very straightforward, and there's no problem really with any of them. I tried doing the Gab shortcut multiple times, and I actually got it, and I was like, yeah, let's go with the Quacker. And now we're on to Warrior's Gold Mine, which is also a very, very difficult one. I had a lot of trouble with this one. So, at the very beginning, there is this boost panel that decides to just boost you into these item boxes. And it's very, very difficult to figure out what exactly you're supposed to do to get around it, right? I tried braking, I tried falling off the edge, but the issue is that with falling off the edge, the respawn point just puts you back up at the top, right? So, in order to get through this one, I realized that you have to jump over the boost panel and try and weave your way around these item box sets. Overall, it was very difficult to try and get around it, but after a while, you do learn how exactly it works, and as long as you have the Quacker, it makes it a lot easier to make those sudden and shift turns. The rest of it's a cakewalk. The only part that is a little confusing is the left and right side at the very end. Just as long as you pick the left side, you should be good to go on that. And there's also this really funny section where I hit the cart and landed on the item box. That was funny. Okay, onto the Star Cup. So there's this Daisy Circuit section that just really, I thought that it was going to be very, very difficult, especially the beginning part. And then I realized it's basically just like anything else where you just have to just go to the very, very left or the very, very right side. It's a little bit deceiving with how it works because it is quite a tight fit. But as long as you got the Quacker, it's not too difficult and not too hard to get around it. Daisy Circuit overall, just altogether, there's a little bit of like having to turn round here and there, but it's not hard. It's not difficult. On to Koopa Cape. This one was a really big puzzle that I was trying to figure out for like the longest time. So there's this first section that is just very difficult to get around because of those rails. If those rails weren't there, it would be a lot easier to be able to just get around it. So I had to just pray that there was a good respawn point, because if there wasn't, and I just fell off and had to respawn at the very beginning again, I would be kind of stuck and screwed. Luckily for me, after maybe about 5 minutes of trying to weave around it, I did realize you can actually hit off of the rail and just fall straight into the water. And because of how good that respawn point is, I was very lucky to figure out that you can just die and keep on going through it. Other than that, the rest of Koopa Cape is very simple, very straightforward, a lot of openings here and there. The ending part can be a little difficult at times, but you just have to make sure to take a hard left or a hard right, and you'll make it out of there alive. On to Maple Treeway. So, very straightforward course, not too hard, not too difficult. The only part that is a little bit harder than the rest of it is at the end. Just as long as you stick to the far left and then kind of drift up, like you see on the screen here, shouldn't be too difficult, and that's really the only place that could get you off guard. And finally, Grumble Volcano. This one has the really, really spaced out section. It's just maybe that first part that could be a little difficult to avoid those item boxes, but I don't see much problem here. Maybe after a couple of tries here and there, you should be able to get this one pretty easy. So far, so good. We haven't had any item boxes we haven't been able to get around. Do you think that we can get through all of them, or is it just gonna be like done now? Well, let's see here with Dry Ruins. So Dry Ruins, very, very easy one. There is literally nothing at all that could cause you issues. Maybe that ending item box set might cause you a little bit of problems here and there, but overall, you just have to avoid it and possibly die, and you'll be good on that. Moonview Highway, same old, same old. There's might be a little bit of issues, and this is one of the ones I kind of had to do all 3 laps just because of how different the track varies each time. But overall, very easy course. As long as you're actively avoiding those item boxes, you shouldn't have any problems with this one. There isn't really any spot that tries to force you to have an item box, and if you don't go out of your way to get one, then you're basically good on that one. Now we get to this mother freaking one right here. Ugh. Bowser's Castle was a very difficult one, especially the beginning section where they try and give you 3 item box sets for the sake of no reason at all. So at the very beginning, that first section isn't too difficult. You just have to kind of aim to the side. Luckily, there's a very big opening on that side, and so it's not too difficult to try and get around it. But then you go to the second 2, the last 2 sets there, right? Both of those are very difficult, and the reason why is because the item box sets are shifting back and forth. It is possible. I've done it, especially if you're able to jump over the second set. That first set is just the biggest part that can be very tiresome to try and get around. It is possible to weave through it, squeeze through at the right time. You just have to be going quite fast, and then that second set you just have to kind of jump over. That fourth set is also quite hard as well, but as long as you stick to the right or the left side, you should be good on that as well. And there won't be any problems other than those 4. Man, I don't know how we're somehow still at 0, but we are at 0 right now. The last one in the special cup is Rainbow Road, and this one is pretty straightforward. There isn't too much problem here when it comes to Rainbow Road. There's a couple sections here and there where I thought it was going to be very difficult, especially that one right before the star shoots, but it wasn't, surprisingly. All you had to do was just go to the right or left, like usual. Or actually, you could squeeze through it as well. So, yeah, it wasn't too difficult. And, yeah, it was nice. It was a good time. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today on the Wii Cups. We will be doing the Retro Cups here very, very soon. If you do enjoy it, please make sure to like, subscribe, and yeah, just come back whenever you can. But yeah, without further ado, guys, I'm gonna head out. I will see you guys in that next video, and make sure to stay hydrated. Bye!